Hey, what's up? It's me, Awesome Ali.
And I'm Raisa, and welcome back to another episode of
Of Adults Teens Need to Know.
Who are you and what do you do? Yes, APSO is back with our interviews, and to kick it off to the new year, we have a very special guest today. She is known as Trainer Jane, and her job and business is to literally help entrepreneurs make their life so much easier, make money, close sales, great communication and marketing all over the place.
All over online.
Yes, it is a virtual. So now presenting Jane War.
Woo! Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited to have you on today. We're excited to hear the knowledge that you bring. But before we start it, Raisa, what is our first question?
Our first question is, who are you and what do you do?
Thank you again so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. So my name is Jane War, but I did brand myself as Trainer Jane many years ago. So most people do call me Trainer Jane. I am known as the CEO and founder of Selling on the Spot and Selling on the Spot Marketplace. So it is something that I created over 5 years ago. It is virtual events, of course, right now, where it is our mission to help you, the entrepreneur, business owner, or sales professional, to embrace the sales process and give you fun and profitable virtual events to attend, to sell your products, sell your services, or book coffee meetings, Zoom meetings, and close more sales.
Wow, that's fantastic. And Jane, you did mention beforehand, I believe, that you are a sales consultant and communications consultant, right? So what was the reason behind creating Selling on the Spot Marketplace?
Yep. Well, yes, I'm a communications and sales trainer. And so because of my passion has always been in being front of the room, training groups of people. So as opposed to a coach, I don't generally coach one-on-one, but train groups and do corporate speaking as well in regards to communications and sales. So it started from my own passion to help other entrepreneurs sell better. I think I just was able to hear things that they didn't do as well or saw that they weren't asking for the sale, they didn't have confidence, and they weren't getting results. So I knew I could help them, and through that is when I created Selling on the Spot Marketplace.
Wow. So you really created a platform. I actually had gone to one of your events, and one of the best thing is that everyone knows that you're either there to buy or to sell. Like you're going to make some kind of purchase. So when you started Selling on the Spot, how did you create that environment? What were the rules? What were the expectations?
Well, going back 5 years ago, of course, there was no pandemic. So we actually were in-person events. That is how we started. I started in Ajax, Ontario, Canada, because that's where I lived. And it was because I was passionate about helping the entrepreneurs literally just in my community. And it was because, again, I either saw them at networking events not selling well, or there were other amazing networking events, but that they didn't permit selling. They said relationship building only. And of course, we care about that too, but we want relationship building and ethical selling. So I saw a need in the marketplace to create it. I, at that time, put on the event once, not intending on starting an entire company, not looking to start the movement that we have created either. And it was because of demand. People kept saying, bring it back, that an entire year later, I brought it back. And for 3 years, it was just me by myself putting on monthly events in Ajax, which then grew into Toronto and the Greater Toronto area. And then I was requested into other cities, took it as far as Ottawa. Levels of government were asking me to bring it in. And then people were asking me to create the licensing model. So it's been this entire process of building out a bigger company so that we could help even more people. So it started with me, and now we proudly have licensees around the world that are putting on the events, which of course now are virtual only till we're permitted to go back to in-person, in which case then we'll do both, because now we have this wonderful global community that we're serving. And it's very much like-minded entrepreneurs. So we're really proud of the community that we have attracted. We are an inclusive community, so it's not women only. There are literally no people groups that are excluded from us. And we are very proud of that diverse community that we serve.
Wow, that's amazing. I actually have some fans of you as well. So Latifa is saying hi.
Hello.
And Jamal is saying, here is your best listener. So thank you, because every time you listen to Trainer Jane, you're going to learn something very, very valuable. So Jane, what was happening before selling on the spot? It's this big thing now, but where were you before?
Well, as a communications and sales trainer under the brand of Trainer Jane, I proudly was teaching emotional intelligence by the brand of Verbal Aikido, I believe you two have heard of. And I also was training another program called BANK, BANK being the acronym for the 4 different personality types. So I was proudly serving, again, the same community of entrepreneurs, looking at how can they, again, speak better and communicate the message that they wanted to, because unless the other person understands the message, then communication hasn't really happened. And through that, people kept asking me if I was a business coach or a sales coach or a sales trainer. And that's when I took the tangent towards sales specifically, created Selling on the Spot Marketplace. And it was only about a year ago when I separated the two companies, because Selling on the Spot Marketplace grew so big and so quickly that I separated the two corporations.
Wow, that's amazing.
Oh my gosh.
That's the type of problems you want to be having, right?
Good challenges. I have many good challenges. I'm blessed.
Yes, and we're excited. I hope you can share with us those in a moment. But before we get move on, let me just get fixed
All
up
right,
there.
Instagram.
Yeah. So before you got into get the Selling on the Marketing Spot, you said you were doing like trainings and stuff. Is there a certain reason why you gravitated towards, teaching or training sales, communication, and emotional intelligence?
Great question. I think most of us end up teaching or training what we most needed to learn. So I was a student of each of the programs first and loved the programs, and therefore proudly wanted to represent them. So the emotional intelligence program specifically helped me improve my relationship with my mother, as well as some other people. And that's why I chose to share it with others by being a trainer. And the personality-based sales training helped me understand everybody even further. And I layered the two together, thinking they were even better together. And so whether it helped me in regards to my business relationships or even personal, because it helps with personality codes, of course, apply to absolutely everybody in the human race. So therefore, it also helped with personal relationships. So friendships, dating, marriage, or parenting. All of that. And I loved it so much. And then, like I said, specifically went towards sales because that is my passion. And I believe I even found my own voice in that way, meaning my sales got better by me teaching how to sell better.
Yes, and I can definitely relate to that. When there was somebody was saying, if you're trying to learn something new, pretend like you're trying to teach it to somebody else, because that's when you pick up on different things to make sure you understand the basics. If you're trying to teach it to somebody else so they can understand, and at the same time, it's refreshing the things that you already know and just reinforcing that so you can remember it in those moments. So props to you on that.
Exactly. So Trainer Jane, Jane, because now you've split both corporations. Shanisa says hello. And we actually have a question from our audience. Jamal says, what are some of your strategies you use to attract customers?
Oh, well, quite frankly, Selling on the Spot Marketplace is the lead generation tool and that's why I turned it into a licensing model, is because I created it, like I said, first to serve the community. But I realized that as the front of the room speaker, I was successfully selling into my back-end products and services, which were those 2-day live events. And therefore, all I had to do basically on a monthly basis was bring more people into my audience at a low ticket price, because they were coming to Selling on the Spot Marketplace, selling to each other, but also hearing who I was and what I was offering. And so they ended up starting to come to my programs. And then I realized that I had built something quite phenomenal. And that's when people started asking to license it so that they could have their own events, which are a lead generation tool. So literally, I've done nothing other than build this company to attract customers and clients.
Wow, fantastic, fantastic. Great question and great response, Jane. Risa?
Yes, so our next question for you in terms of lead generation. So those were some of the benefits of actually creating Selling on the Spot. Now, you do actually have some young entrepreneurs in the Selling on the Spot marketplace. So my question for you is, do you believe that age creates a limit on your selling ability or your entrepreneurial spirit?
Excellent question. No, I don't think there's any hesitation there, or with age, I find comes wisdom usually, but I find that sometimes those that are older than your demographic, let's say, have their own limiting beliefs and reasons why they might be holding themselves back. They might have lack of confidence. And these are different things that we teach in both Selling on the Spot marketplace, and we actually have other programs like Selling on the Spot Masterclass. But I find the benefit of your generation, whether coming to our events or not yet, are learning through us. But I think you all have less limiting beliefs. You might have less experience coming in, but I find more often are less shy to share and try and put things into action. And that's refreshing. And oftentimes you have more confidence and are exuding it. So kudos to you, because I know Reese, you've come to our event twice and you're very articulate, which has showed up and people have noticed as well. So I think there's always a possibility of pros and cons, but it's a matter of what are your skill sets, and come to a platform like ours where we're going to guide you anyways on how to sell in our platform. And therefore, regardless of age, please join us, because your age group has different offers, different enthusiasm, different products and services. So we need you, we want you, and please do business with us as well.
All right, love that, love that.
There you go,
Selling
guys.
on the Spot is open up to all ages, all
Absolutely.
stuff. Let's get that movement going in the younger generation. Fantastic. Thank you, Jane. So as you know, 2020 was a very hectic and crazy year. 2021 also, we got the pandemic still going on. So moving from in-person, right, to transitioning your business to an online and virtual based event company, kind of, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
How has it been filling the rooms, and what tips do you have for us on selling virtually?
Great. We actually had an incredibly easy pivot, and that's because fortunately I had the foresight of creating virtual events long before the pandemic. We recently had our 2-year anniversary of Selling on the Spot virtual events. And so as soon as the pandemic happened, and I like to joke about the 14 days they said we were going to be in lockdown, right? So I thought it was a short-term fix when we went to virtual. So I think it was the very next Wednesday, I was already hosting a virtual event, because I already had the existing PowerPoint. I already knew how to host it because I was the one that was doing it. So it was more a matter of informing our database, informing our community that we now had virtual events, so that we still were there to serve them, that they could come to our events, and that business could continue as close to usual as possible, because we were still providing them the platform and the connections to others that would be open to buying their products and services. So the challenge for us at Selling on the Spot was that then I needed to train all my licensees on how to present the new PowerPoint and how to present differently virtually, because of course it's different energy. It's an entirely different feel, just sitting alone and sitting by yourself in a room versus feeling the physical energy of everybody in the room. So we took about a month to get everybody going, and then otherwise word of mouth is how we've always grown. I've never run Facebook ads, anything like that. We're very proud of the community that we've built, and that it's grown through referrals and the positivity that we've put out over social media.
Wow. I love what you said there about the word of mouth is the way you've grown. And I think for business owners, and for entrepreneurs, companies, the owners of these things, the word of mouth is probably the best thing that you can have. It's better than Facebook ads. It's better than YouTube. It's better than SEO and all that, right? Because when somebody tells another person about you and your product, or you drop something new and that spreads, that can reach more people who are likely to buy from you rather than, like, let's say an ad, because they trust that person already who's telling them that. If you go in, for great example, movie theaters, they run off of that, right? They have the little trailer clips, they put it out. They don't necessarily, I want to say, run as many. They do run ads and stuff, but they do the trailer clip, and then the word of mouth spreads it after, right? So I love that. I'm glad that you've been experiencing the raving fans towards that.
Yeah. If I can add to that, and it's really about results, because people are going to networking events because they want to build their business. Generally, yes, they're open to building new relationships, but they're not looking for 20 more best friends. They're looking for friends that they want to do business with, or at least have the ability to do business with and enjoy that growing the relationships. But ultimately, we need to close sales. And again, that's why I created it. So it's worked very well in that regard.
So you already predicted that your business was going to go online. So I got to ask you, you're now a fortune teller. Where do you see the future of selling, networking, and marketing going?
Well, I think now that basically the entire world has moved to virtual, one of the most common questions I get is, when we can go back to in-person, are we doing in-person only? And I said, absolutely not. We're thriving virtually. We now have clients coming from over 20 countries around the world. We don't want to stop serving them. So we see that, yes, absolutely, any region, any country is going to go back to in-person when they can, because there still is that wonderful ability to hug or shake hands or give fist bumps, or whatever they're comfortable with, and build the relationship by physically being together and having more time together. But this is such a thriving time and such a thriving platform that I see that any and every company, including ours, is just going to grow that much bigger and faster because of the virtual platform.
Wow, amazing. I love that. So just before, we got a few more questions before we wrap it up for today. I want to get to know a little bit about the experience. We've heard about the great success that Selling on the Market Spot has had so far, but what have been some of your challenges that you feel may have slowed you down for a bit, but then once you got over it, you were like skyrocketing on some jet fuel? So what have been some obstacles?
I think the main one was when the pandemic shifted us to virtual, that I needed to have everybody aware that we existed, that we didn't close down just because we were known as in-person events, that we were virtual. And because we put about 30 people in a room. We're not looking to put hundreds and hundreds. So it was community based. I started this in Durham, Ontario, Canada. So I alerted everybody in Durham first, but of course the entire database. And again, through word of mouth, it grew. And then of course I had to slow down as the CEO, like I said, to get my team ready, get the licensees all skilled and ready and able, and pick different days and times. And then as we grew into other countries, again, good challenge, then we were on different time zones. So making sure that nobody was confused as to when the events were. Then we had another great challenge when we added Spanish, by having somebody host the events in Spanish, so having to translate everything. But I mean, these are fantastic problems to have if you're having problems, right? Exactly. So it was a lot. I joke about 2020 being a blur. I don't basically remember 2020. All I did was work, but I'm so passionate and love what I do, so it's fine.
That's amazing. So with all of that in mind, if you were to have a billboard anywhere in the world, because now you're international, where would it be and what would it say? You can even translate it in Spanish.
There you go. You know what? My answer wouldn't be a specific location. It would be putting it in locations that are most hard hit. So considering COVID has, of course, affected the entire world, it's hard to pick specific locations that are most hard hit. I know the US right now for us is a big focus, is attracting more licensees. So more franchise partners in the US to help them, because again, our passion is helping who needs us the most. So whether it's because they need help in learning how to sell, or because they've been devastated through COVID in one way or another, and financially they need our help, they need a platform to close sales in. So in our platform, we say, follow our process that we teach there, and we expect you to sell. So if you're selling a physical product, you're earning the money that day. Or if selling a service, you can earn money that day. And if you're closing a Zoom coffee meeting, we still say that you've sold, because you've effectively influenced somebody to say yes to your offer, and then hold that coffee meeting and then close the sale there. So it's only that one touch point away, as opposed to when you hear about 17 and 20 touch points and you have to email and you have to phone and whatever before you ever close the sale. No, come to Selling on the Spot Marketplace, meet the person, book the appointment, and then close ethically, if you're both meant to move forward in business, in the next appointment. So wherever we're needed is who we want to serve. And again, it's that inclusive community that we most want to serve. So we believe all lives matter, and we are working with certain minorities now, and different groups are reaching out to us saying, do we also help them? So somebody asked about, can we closed caption our events as well, for example, for those with those challenges that they want to be able to read the presentations. And we said, absolutely, then we'll add that as well. And then we're proud again to be able to help that community even more so.
Fantastic. I love that. I love that so much. And the thing I like what you said there about selling on the market spot is you can do that with one touch point, and you help that person make the decision, even if it was like a free thing that they went to, or it's like $2, right? They still made that decision. And selling is helping somebody to make a decision, whether it's a yes, whether it's a no. It's making sure they can have a decision and not just leaving them in a confused state. And you did mention something that you had a little confusing thing go down a bit. So Jane, what do you have going on right now? Where can our audience reach out to you?
Well, we also have now 6 divisions in the company. So there's sometimes a little confusion with Selling on the Spot Marketplace versus Selling on the Spot Marketing, or the masterclass, or media training. Again, good challenges to have when the company has grown into 6 divisions. So we do ask and invite anyone to join us at Selling on the Spot Marketplace, because that is a place where they get to connect with our community. They get to make their offers, potentially to be closing sales on the spot. Collaborations can happen out of it, friendships, of course, and so much more. And then also learn about our other offers, because we do have free and low investment offers under, for example, the Selling on the Spot Marketing brand. So we've taken on some joint venture partners in the last few months, so that we can now serve under the brand of Selling on the Spot even more so. So not just through our marketplace, but again, enabling entrepreneurs and business owners to get all sorts of different information through us. So we're offering LinkedIn training, Pinterest training, and so much more.
Wow, that's amazing. That's
all the tools you need.
Exactly, all the tools you need with Jane Ward, trainer Jane on the market spot.
Yes, so
selling on the spot marketplace.
Selling on the spot marketplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting me there.
Yeah.
But as we are wrapping up this really,
hold on. I got one more question before we ask the last one, Raisa.
Okay.
Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Jane, is that okay with you?
Sure.
All right, perfect. So my last question before Raisa asks her last question is, what are some tips you can give to a younger entrepreneur towards selling? They're just selling. If they're getting new into that selling wise, what would you tell them?
Great question. So for them to be clear and concise as to who they are, who they help, how they help them with what challenge or what problem, so that we can then look at, can we move forward in some way in business together? Because at our events, we start with that clear and concise introduction. We call it your audio business card. And then we go into making an offer and asking for the sale. So for the youth, absolutely be really clear, niche down to a target market, and just connect with us, be authentic, look at the camera, have a connection with each person. And on top of that, think about this box here, because of course we're virtual, everything matters. So the visual representation matters, because people are going to start building that know, like, and trust factor as soon as the camera turns on.
Yes,
exactly.
indeed.
You're so right. Thank you so much, Trainer Jane. Jane, selling on the spot marketplace. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you for giving so many tips and advice and how to actually reach you, because this is absolute gold. And this is something that we can definitely take advantage of in the way that we are creating those new networks and those connections. And thank you to our audience for asking questions, interacting with us, and watching Jane do her magic on our show. This was presented by APSO.
Awesome people.
Shaping our world.
Remember, you are awesome.
And you can make the world a better place. Bye.
Thank you for having me.